Hey everyone, welcome back. So for today's video I want to talk about those fake Death Eaters that attacked the Quidditch World Cup in the Goblet of Fire. Technically they were actual Death Eaters previously in the past, but they abandoned that life when they gave up the search for Voldemort after his downfall, or basically didn't try at all. They just thought he was gone and moved on with their lives. So the story is that these Death Eaters did enjoy their time in the role. They loved the power and intimidation that came with being a Death Eater. They loved frightening people, harming muggles, just being assholes for the sake of a better word. So at the end of the Quidditch World Cup, these Death Eaters, or wannabe Death Eaters, show up out of the blue and start causing mayhem. So what exactly happened? Why did they do it? Where did this idea even come from? Was Voldemort behind it? There's so many questions to answer and a big discussion to be had, so let's get to the bottom of this story. Anyway, as I mentioned, life as a Death Eater was pretty good. They enjoyed being Death Eaters. They enjoyed everything that came with it. Then Voldemort disappears and the Death Eaters basically disappear along with him. Nobody was willing to risk being caught, and it showed that loyalty to the Dark Lord meant nothing if it meant life in Azkaban. And to be honest, I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be sitting with a Dementor for the rest of my life anyway. So there were some who were willing to go down for their master, like Bellatrix Lestrange, Barty Crouch Jr., Rabastin and Rodolphus Lestrange, to name a few, but other than that, everyone else went missing. That's how it was. Nobody looked for Voldemort, and any signs of his return were blatantly ignored. As a matter of fact, many Death Eaters were happy he was gone after seeing the most brutal side of the man that promised to change the wizarding world for the better. However, with that being said, these were not very nice people themselves anyway. They all had egos, they all enjoyed being in a position of power, but that all went out the window for well over a decade. Now the Death Eaters of old were certainly not strangers. They all remained friends and kept inside the inner circle. Lucius Malfoy, for example, was still friends with Crabbe, Goyle, McNair, among others. They all still shared the same feelings towards the current state of magical society. They would have conversations about the purebloods being bred out, more and more half-bloods and muggleborns coming into the world, the Ministry won't do anything about it, that old fool Dumbledore is still running Hogwarts, long gone are the days of old where everyone feared who they used to be. Then the idea drops. Why can't the Death Eaters make an appearance once again and stir things up, create a panic, get the Daily Prophet printing absolute madness? This would be all of their own doing, and certainly something that Lucius Malfoy would have fronted without question. There's a scene in the Goblet of Fire movie where Lucius tells Harry to enjoy himself while he can, indicating something was about to happen, and that was one of my favourite scenes from the movie. I think it's something that they did get right. Anyway, I think that's the message many viewers got anyway. However, with that being said, these guys were just a bunch of phonies looking to take one last ride on the glory of their past. They were never going to actually do something that would draw serious attention to the faction. The last thing that any of them wanted was to be caught by Aurors and interrogated beyond breaking point due to their association with Voldemort, when in reality all they wanted was to have some fun, even if it was at other wizard and witches' expenses. So what exactly happened? Well, you'll remember that the attack actually happened after the World Cup, when everything was done. As I said, they weren't going to interrupt the World Cup proceedings. That's too big of a draw. They waited and then made their play. The rioters, as they were called, began burning everything in their paths, tents, clothing and other belongings, although the majority of that happened because they were drunk and didn't really know what they were doing. They were targeting muggleborns though, and neighbouring muggles too. They wanted to set an example and instill fear, but as I said, nothing past the point of catastrophic. Yeah, that's a better word, catastrophic. They were all dressed in their Death Eater robes, which is quite ironic that they kept them so long, but dressed as Death Eaters they were, which only spelled one name, Lord Voldemort. So it had the desired effect, as the first sign of anything to do with Voldemort terrified the vast majority, if not everybody. So they took things to what I consider a little bit too far when they began to torture the innocent Roberts family, a group of muggles camping nearby. So these fake Death Eaters think they're absolutely in control. They are loving life, doing whatever they please because of the terror their robes bring with them. They're drunk, they're having fun, they're laughing, everything is just pure enjoyment. So I'm going to explain why I've used the word fake several times, and it links together nicely with the next part of our story, the next part of this video. Barty Crouch Jr., the OG, super devoutly loyal Death Eater, comes onto the scene and witnesses these men act in the name of Lord Voldemort, or so they claim to be doing anyway. He knows how to extract the weeds with one simple spell. Pointing his wand to the sky, he casts the Mors Mortis spell, which projects Voldemort's dark mark into the sky for all to see. Barty absolutely despised these people, these Death Eaters, those who abandon his master in his time of need, those who pretend to do the Dark Lord's work only to disappear at the mere sight of danger. The only time this dark mark appears in the sky is when someone has been killed in the name of Lord Voldemort. When the rioters witnessed the dark mark appearing in the sky, they all dispersed immediately with fear that the Dark Lord was actually indeed back. As I said earlier, they didn't want Voldemort to be back. They all rebuilt their lives, they moved on, the Dark Lord was gone. So they knew if he returned, he would scold them at the very least for their lack of effort in restoring him to power, and they'd all build rather comfortable lives since the events of the First Wizarding War. The most surprising part is that this whole attack stemmed from a bunch of drunken, pure-blood former colleagues still bitter over the fact that they no longer had power. It was just a flex of who they used to be. They were literally former Death Eaters pretending to be actual Death Eaters, which they weren't because Voldemort was gone and they served nobody. Now guys, I have to be honest, it's not as strategically planned as what we see in the films, with them lining in the campsite like soldiers ready for battle, in their robes ready to go, chanting the whole lot, the torches, no. But they didn't have any intention to do serious damage. Anyway guys, that's my story on the fake Death Eaters. If you have anything you want to add to this story, then please do so in the comments section below. Plenty more videos to come this month. I'm pretty sure you'll be happy with what's in store. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever. So please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do. It's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content. So if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDNJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.